So I just finished my first week playing Fortnite on PC. I've been playing Fortnite on PS4 since season 5, and I decided that I wanted to make the switch. I'm gonna start by showing you the skill level I reached playing on controller for the past 18 months. I don't have a lot of clips on controller as I don't have any footage from my days on PlayStation. I would consider myself an above average player who could build, edit and push other players with confidence. I would consistently get high kill games and felt confident that I could win any solo game that I dropped into. As the game progressed, I felt as if the skill gap between controller and keyboard and mouse players was growing wider and wider, and I was slowly starting to fall behind. After seeing players like Booger dominate at the World Cup, it became clear that a change was needed if I wanted to perform at a higher level. Even switching to Claw in July of 2019 wasn't enough to give me the confidence to continue as a controller player. I played on Claw for 4 months until I felt like it was time for a bigger change. Here are some of my stats on Fortnite Tracker in the seasons I played on controller. There are of course negatives with playing on controller and console, like being limited to 60 FPS and uncompetitive graphics settings, limited bind options and a reduced competitive advantage in endgame scenarios, all of which aren't a problem for PC players. I was looking for a new challenge and also for a way to make Fortnite more enjoyable, as I had been playing it for over a year and a half and was starting to get bored. Now the part you've been waiting for. Here's my 1 week progression, switching from controller to keyboard and mouse on PC. I haven't played a game using keyboard and mouse since Call of Duty 4 in 2007, where I played the campaign a handful of times. With that being said, let's get into the video. I started day 1 playing some Team Rumble with some friends, as I wasn't familiar at all with WASD movement, let alone aiming, building and editing. I didn't feel like playing any solos and getting pooped on due to skill-based matchmaking. To add to the experience, I dropped for the first time in early season 11 on a completely different platform. Let's just say it felt like everything I learned in Fortnite since season 5 had been thrown out the window. The following clip was one of my first eliminations of the day and the best clip I got all day. New mechanics like using the cursor to organize my inventory, having separate binds for each weapon alongside other things were a chore to get used to, but ultimately I knew that with enough persistence I would become a better player. Once we were warmed up, we dropped into some squads to give ourselves more of a challenge. In our first game I was left to fend for myself in Syrupy Swamp, and let's just say it would have been a miracle to have made it out.
Your try, Scud.
I started the week copying Cypher PK's binds, as I had no idea what binds to use when switching to PC. Coming from controller where options are more limited, this started as the framework for my keybinds, but I will come to optimize these later on in day 6. One major issue I had with these binds was having my pyramid bound to left shift. Since my pinky was weak from nearly 2 decades of console gaming and a general lack of use, I found myself placing pyramids at random moments and especially during fights. Not ideal. All in all, coming from someone who could dominate solos and consistently drop 10 plus elims in a game, being barely able to defend myself against bots in a Team Rumble game was a humbling experience.
So you look like a fish out of water when you're jumping up and down.
After watching back the footage from day 1, I decided I had to spend 2 hours in creative working on my building, editing and aim. Thankfully, with the addition of creative I didn't have to rely on playgrounds or pubs in order to hone my skills, like I did in season 5. Featured in these clips are 3 creative maps which I practice in every day for the remainder of the week and have now incorporated into my warm-up routine. It features a relatively easy edit course by DWrecked, a medium level edit course by the Rodey bros, and a challenging all-in-one course by DonWolsey_BT_Dub. All of the codes will be listed in the description if you want to check them out. I also practice free building in an empty island to perfect my 90s and my tunneling. Overall on day 2, my edits felt slower than they did on controller, I lacked any muscle memory for placing builds, and I continued to spam pyramids due to my binds. I consistently failed double and triple edits, often having to attempt them multiple times. The biggest obstacle was having to think about the buttons before pressing them. I often had to look down at my keyboard to find specific keys. Frustrating, to say the least. If you're new to keyboard and mouse, you can probably expect similar progress. By the end of the day, you will see huge changes in your mechanics if you follow the same routine. On day 3 after creative, I played some squads and duos with some friends. After dropping into my first game and getting eliminated after pulling out my pyramid 3 times during the fight, I realized that I wasn't ready to play comfortably in public lobbies just yet.
Bruh, I can't do nothing.
I took the easy way out and plugged in my controller for the remainder of my duo and squad games to save myself further embarrassment. This was a bad idea and I wouldn't recommend it for anyone seriously trying to learn keyboard and mouse. Although it is frustrating to make mistakes, persevering and resisting the urge to play on controller will allow you to make more progress and get used to your binds. However, one positive I can take away from this was that I won my first duo game on PC, finishing with 9 elims.
These are my dad to the school.
No shoulder hit.
Everyone's weak, everyone's weak.
33 white.
To finish off the day, I hopped into some Team Rumble back on the mouse and keyboard to improve my looting, building and aim. Unfortunately, this was the day they introduced lightsabers with the Star Wars update and the lobbies were full of them. I decided to pick up a lightsaber of my own and join in on the fun because who can say no to lightsabers in Fortnite?
Bro, this is crazy.
By the end of day 3, I hadn't made much progress, and that's due to a fault of my own. Even though I wanted to get better at keyboard and mouse, I wanted to enjoy myself while playing on my new PC for the first time. The huge difference jumping from console at 60 FPS with locked settings to PC at 144 FPS with completely customizable settings made it feel like an entirely new Fortnite experience. By day 4, I knew I had a long ways to go if I wanted to get anywhere close to the level I was at when playing on controller. I spent 2 of my 4 hours in creative focusing on my edit speed, my 90s, as well as shooting and placing walls immediately after. I focused mainly on simulating things that I would experience in game, as most creative courses don't create situations that translate into a real game. After I was feeling more confident with my binds, I jumped feet first into some solos. Most of my games ended up playing out the same though. I would land in a relatively quiet spot, loot up, secure an early elim or 2 and die to storm or by a better player. As you can see by this fight on screen, I was feeling a lot more competent with my binds, protecting myself more and hitting some shotgun shots. I could tell that my aim was improving and that I was more consistent with flick shots as the days went on. Although I ended up dying due to a lack of mats, I was feeling good about how I progressed on day 4 alone. The extra time in creative was really beginning to show. I even managed to get this clean double tap on the default with a lightsaber.
Yo, win!
In spite of all the progress I was making, I would still get tilted once in a while.
No, I pressed pyramid.
Yo, dude.
No. That's his first elim too, bro. This guy was garbage, bro.
Again, I finished the day with some Team Rumble as it allows me to get into more fights without all the downtime you get in a regular solo. Day 5 was the day I started to see the most improvement in my game. I was getting more and more used to my keybinds, meaning that I could do 90s a lot more consistently and even practice double floor wall ramp rushes.
Oh, I'm kind of clean with it, no cap.
I was able to tunnel effectively with the occasional mistake, and this really motivated me to keep putting in the hours.
So if we do scrims, bro, this time I'm the one that's going to be tunneling, because I know you can't tunnel.
This man, you don't even know me, bro.
I've never seen you do tunneling in your life, bro.
But I was tunneling when you weren't even on the keyboard and mouse, G.
Wow.
But what truly improved my mechanics the most over this 7-day period was practicing box fighting with a friend. Box fighting has become the meta and is a huge part of the competitive Fortnite scene. Pro players like Booger, Clicks and Unknown Army box fight on a regular basis and are some of the best and most mechanically gifted Fortnite players. Just 30 rounds of box fighting with my boy Cedrill drastically improved my aim, flick shots, edit speed and more. I can single-handedly say that box fighting is the quickest way to get used to keyboard and mouse, and I would suggest practicing it for a minimum of 30 minutes a day if you have the time. By the way, it's also incredibly fun and addicting.
That flick was nasty, bro. I don't even care if I lose. That flick was god tier.
I started the 30 rounds with scuffed edits, bad aim and misplaced pyramids, but by the end I was hitting 80% of my shots, edit peaking effectively and winning back to back to back rounds.
Let's go. Whoa! Woo! Going through the window.
No, again, man.
After box fighting, we dropped into duos for the night and I continued to feel myself improving. Due to skill-based matchmaking, it's harder to improve in solos, so duos allow you to play against players of similar level without having all of the burden on your shoulders. I found that dropping into duos or squads in the first week kept me motivated to play, unlike when I dropped into solos or Team Rumble. If you play on EU servers and want a game with me or just want to hang out on stream, follow me on Twitter and on Twitch at Fujo1k to get notified when I go live. I'll be playing Fortnite with my viewers for 2 days every single week. A few games in, I won my first duo game on PC and it felt great after days of struggle. I felt a lot less nervous getting into fights, and by day 5, I was used to pressing keys on a keyboard like I did buttons on a controller.
We won. I won on PC, bro. Let's go. That's my first keyboard on us. Yeah, bro.
Despite this, me and my duo still ran into the occasional PC sweat.
Oh, you beat me, bro. This is a controller. No way.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Oh, I got destroyed.
Later in the night, we won another game, and even though I didn't have as many limbs as I was used to, I was happy with how much I was developing as a player. One problem that continued to annoy me was the random placing of pyramids due to my pinky resting on left shift. Because of this, I decided to make some changes to a few of my keybinds, like moving my pyramid to V and pickaxe to C in order to make them more comfortable. This did result in me taking a small step back heading into day 6, but in the long run these binds will be the most optimal for me. If you are switching to keyboard and mouse or have been using the same keybinds for some time, don't be afraid to play around with your binds and sensitivity to find out what's right for you. There are no correct binds, but perfect binds for your playstyle do exist. Due to Christmas and the holiday season, I decided to take a small break in between days 5 and 6 to spend some time with family, meaning that I didn't get to play much besides a couple of hours in creative, just to keep my muscle memory intact. I was rusty from the time off, on top of getting used to my new binds as you can see by this clip during some solos, but I felt more natural on keyboard and mouse at this point in the week. I didn't get to record much outside of creative on day 6 due to a lack of time. Regardless, I was playing with a lot more confidence, even getting myself into late game scenarios, but still the elusive first solo win was yet to be attained. Finally, we have arrived at the final day of the week, day 7. It's been a long week and I've come a long way in terms of progress. In creative, my editing speed and accuracy have drastically improved. I was finishing the DWrecked edit course with 3 minutes left on the clock compared to day 2 where I was finishing with a minute left. My 90s had drastically improved, going from barely being able to do a single 90 consistently to doing triple 90s with relative ease. My 90s may not be perfect as I still hit the wall and place floors above my head from time to time, but I'm pleased with how far they've come since day 1. I was also more confident doing double and triple edits like the floor pyramid edit seen on screen now. I struggled to do this edit on controller and it felt good being able to hit it consistently on keyboard and mouse. Scroll wheel reset was also an added bonus on keyboard and mouse that I was slowly starting to perfect. It plays a huge role in the box fighting meta and it is a big advantage to have over a controller player. Overall, spending 1 to 2 hours per day in creative made my builds feel smoother and it helped me get used to switching between building and shooting, something that was foreign to me on day one. I rounded out the night with some squads and felt more capable and comfortable than ever. No longer was I spending half of the game spectating, I was hitting AR shots and shotgun shots, as well as protecting myself with builds and even playing aggressive like I would on controller. We won some games and I was starting to feel like the week's worth of grinding was starting to pay off.
Oh, I hit his teammate 74. Have you got high ground? Have you got high ground?
Yeah, I've got high.
They might be knocking us down. Yeah, they're knocking us.
I'll crack someone.
What, he's up top? Bro, we can bring him down. Oh, knocked him. 71 tag on the low ground. Knocked him.
I'm not yet at the skill level that I am on controller, but I feel like the ceiling of potential is much higher on keyboard and mouse, despite what people might say about aim assist. To end the video, I think it's safe to say I've made a ton of progress in my first week on keyboard and mouse on PC. Was it worth it to switch from controller on PS4 to keyboard and mouse on PC? 100%. At first, it felt very unorthodox after nearly 2 decades of gaming on consoles, and if you're like me, you'll feel like giving up like I nearly did on day 3. But after a while, everything starts to align and you'll feel more in control. Even though I haven't reached the level I was on playing on controller, it felt right playing Fortnite on PC, especially on the keyboard and mouse. Added bonuses that increase FPS, more buttons to bind my builds and weapons to, and scroll wheel reset will undoubtedly make me a better player in the long run. Please keep in mind that this video is of my own personal results, playing 3 hours a day for the 7 days. Not everyone may achieve the results I achieved in the 7-day period. Considering this was my first time playing keyboard and mouse after a long time, I felt happy with the progress I made in the 7 days. I hope you guys enjoyed the 7-day progression video, and I'm looking forward to bringing you more content like this in the future on YouTube and on Twitch. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. It helps the channel out a ton, especially with a small community like mine. Comment down below what platform you play on, as well as whether you play on keyboard and mouse. I will be replying to everyone down in the comments. And that's it guys, keep gaming and I'll see you in the next one.
Suspended, I don't know what to do, man.
No cap, bro. You know Trill, yeah. Trill's like Meek Mill when he had the fries on his legs, but Flacco Flacco's and Meek Mill drop championships, bro. You know what I mean? That's a different kind of vibe, bro.
That's not coming out unless something happens.
Like what, bro?
I'll get suspended again or something.
I don't know, bro. I just expected more, man.